What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on Pokito by Latorre. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, just ask them in the comment section below, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss a review. Also, join the Chris Edwards Magic Secret Access group over on Facebook. Again, if you haven't checked out Auction Tricks, go check them out. That's where I picked these up, and I got them at a better price than they were even selling them for on Penguin. But it all depends on if they're in stock there and what the price is at that time. Definitely worth checking out. Alright, so today we are looking at Pokito by Latorre. So what is it? So this is essentially an Aikido box, a slot box, and a Boston box all in one. But what makes this different is it also allows you to perform a very visual vanish as well as an audible vanish. So what do you get? So first off, it depends which one you order. You'll either get the $50 or the dollar size. I have both here. And I'm going to show you what they look like as best as I can without completely exposing the workings of them. But also, under what you get, I would recommend watching this review in full because what you get is not everything that you need to perform even the main routine. Now, in saying that, I think this is great. I do like it. I think that this box allows you to perform things that other boxes won't. However, I think there should be a disclaimer in the description because you can't do a lot of what you need to with what you get. So what's the quality? All right, I'm going to give you a close-up as best as I can. I'm not going to show you the bottoms of these boxes because in doing that, there will be something that happens both visually and audibly that kind of exposes how this works. Now, I'll show you they're both identical in how they work and what they look like. This one's just a bit bigger, obviously, so that's the one I'm going to kind of show you. So it's made out of metal. We'll also touch on quality here. It's made out of aluminum. It's painted black, which there's a reason that it's painted black as well. The quality is good. I feel like the aluminum in certain areas could have been maybe a little bit thicker. I don't think it's flimsy, and I do feel like it probably is durable and will last a long time, maybe forever if you look after it, right? But there are some noticeable features that your participant will see, so I don't feel like me showing them is doing any harm or exposing anything, because what you see on this review is what your spectator will see. So I can show you the bottom of the box. I just have to do something so that something doesn't happen. But the top of the box, or the inside, so I don't know if you can see this, and that's a good thing. If you can't see it, that means your participant probably won't in most cases. But depending on the lighting, inside you will see that there are some recesses in there, which might look a little bit suspicious. I don't think it gives anything away as far as how this works or anything. Like, it does look like a pretty ordinary box, not one that you'd probably find anywhere because it's a magic prop, but I don't feel like there's anything that screams gimmick. Now, with that said, if you're using this only as an Aikido box, you do have to kind of watch how you handle this because of the audible aspect. I feel like that is one of the good things about this, but it could also be something that you don't want at all times. What I mean there is this allows you to do the audible vanish that sounds like there's a coin in there, and when you are ready, you can stop it. But it might not be something you always want to happen, so then you kind of have to watch your handling. So this will hold 4 coins. Actually, we're going to use the $50 here for a second. This will hold 4 coins. Actually, sorry, 5, because I'm using a certain side, right? So 5 coins. The bottom will be flush. And then in other times it will use 4 coins and the bottom will not be flush because you'll be using it as a Boston style box. I'll leave it at that. I won't get too into it. I don't want to expose things, but I do feel like, it's important to show these things. So now I'm going to touch on the tutorial, and I'm also going to touch on how you will need to pick up additional things if you want to perform the included effects. So the tutorial is good. It's good. It's all well shot. It goes over what you get, how to use it, goes over some different sleights, and then it's going to move into the routines. So the most basic routine, and that's probably the one that you've seen in the trailer, is where you have 4 coins in the box. You can show the coins visually disappear down to 1, and then you close your hand, and when you open it up, the box is empty. All 4 coins are in your hand. Now it's super clean. It's very, very visual. This box allows you to perform that visual that no other Pokito box can do. So that's awesome. But what you aren't told, description, is that in order to even perform the most basic routine, you need a shimmed coin. So that's why I can't perform any of the routines for you, because I don't have that and I need to go and purchase one. Now, is it worth doing that? I'd say it is, because the routine looks super good, but I think for the price, they should have included a shimmed coin. After that, you're going to learn a visual coins across routine. And finally, you will learn what Alex calls Flash 3, where you put 3 coins in the box, you close the box, and then you very visually produce the coins in your hands and then show the box is empty. You will also need a certain coin for that isn't a shimmed coin. It's an expanded turtle. Now, for those of you who perform coin magic, you will know what I mean when I say turtle. That's just a word that we use to decrease the chance of exposure. Quality. The quality on this, I kind of touched on that already, but overall, it's well made. It seems like it will be durable. I'm just kind of pushing on things to see if they bend, and it doesn't feel like they do. So I feel like it is well constructed and well designed. Difficulty level. Once you have all the required materials to perform these as taught in the tutorial, it's very easy to use. And the routines themselves aren't very difficult. Because of the way that this box is designed, it does most of the work for you, removing most sleight of hand. Setup and reset, both are instant, but you will need to set things up a certain way to do certain routines. But again, it's instant, so it's not like it takes any time or you have to hide to do it. Is this ready to use out of the box? Not really. Not really. So like I said, you're going to need to pick up a shimmed coin if you don't already have one. You're going to need to pick up another type of coin prop if you don't have one. There are ways of using this, I'd say, without those things, but not as they're taught in the tutorial. Can it be examined? No, definitely not. This is very heavily gimmicked. If your participant handles this in any way, they may not understand how it works, but they're going to definitely discover the secret. Pocket space. It doesn't take up much, right? It's essentially a little bit bigger than the size of coin that you're using, but just think stacked by like 5 coins, right? So not overly big, but it will take up a little bit of pocket space. Who will use this? Is it practical? Is it a worker? So magicians, right? More so magicians who perform coin magic. If you don't perform coin magic, I think that this is also a good piece, because once you have everything that you need, it's very easy to do, and you can perform some of the most visual and audible coin magic that you'll come across. I think it is practical. I think that this works great for table hopping and probably even strolling and walk around if you have your participant hold their hand out. I don't think that there's anything where if you put this on their hand just as like a surface, they're gonna notice anything. So I think that this will work good in a lot of working conditions and situations. I'd say one thing to watch out for is, depending on your lighting, like the inside does look a little strange, but I held it up and you really couldn't see anything on camera. So it's not super noticeable, but it's not just a completely solid inner circle, if that makes sense. What's the price, and is it worth your money? All right, so these are a little bit higher in price. Now, Pokito boxes aren't cheap as they are. Like even the cheapest ones that I've come across that are just the basic brass ones are still fairly costly. So with these ones, if you are picking up the $50 size, it will run you $80. If you're picking up the dollar size, it will cost you $100. Now again, I got these for a little bit less. I can't remember exactly what I paid, but Chris at Auction Tricks had them in stock and was selling them at a discounted price. So go check things out there first. Now, is it worth your money? So it's hard for me here to say yes or no. I think that these boxes are well made, and because they allow you to perform both visual and audible magic, whereas other boxes on the market don't, I feel like they have an advantage there. But they're not cheap, and it's too bad that they couldn't include a shimmed coin with each one, because those coins aren't cheap either. So what you're really looking at is, if you want to pick up a shimmed coin and potentially even the expanded turtle, you're probably going to be spending more like $150 for this one and maybe close to $200 for this one after you get those additional coins. So it will get quite expensive that way. Now, if you're a coin worker, there's a good chance you already have the coins. But if you're not, then this will get fairly expensive. Positives and negatives. So there are a lot of positives to this. It's well made. I think that this is extremely powerful in the visual and audible sense. It's also, I like coin box work. So the fact that you can do a little bit more with these is a plus for me. Negatives. You got to get other coins. You got to go and purchase more things, and that's not said anywhere. I did go and look at the description to make sure that I wasn't just going to say this and then be wrong, but it mentions how this has certain properties, and it does. Without saying too much, they are quite attractive. They look nice, but they are attractive in other ways. Now, that's really all it says. It says that you can combine gimmicked coins to do all sorts of things with this, but it doesn't say that special coins are required. Whereas if you want to perform the material as it's presented in the tutorial, you need those special coins. So that's a negative, because not everybody's going to have them. And if you aren't willing to spend the extra money to get them, you're kind of left with a tutorial and a box that you can't use as you bought it. So when you read that this can be used as an Pokito box, a Boston box, and a slot box, it can really only be used as an Pokito box if you don't have those other things. So all in all, whether it's worth your money or not, I think you're going to have to decide that if you want those additional features that you can do with these, but you also have to spend additional money if you don't have what's required. I think I've covered everything I can on the Pokito boxes, so I'll leave a link in the description, and with that, we'll see you at the next review.